My name's Lewis, I'm in horsemanship, as Rob was just mentioned, and I just want to thank Rob for inviting me back this year to just to talk about a few things. I had a real good think about what I wanted to present this year, and I see quite often it's all about the little things. And what I mean by the little things, it's when we fix those little things instead of ignoring them, lots of other stuff just gets better. Okay? Well, as I say in my students, by osmosis, it just happens because. So, what I did a bit of research with what I wanted to talk about today, and I kept coming up against a common theme with that research. I need my halter, Helen, I need that halter. So with that research, I came up with these 5 common elements, and back in my early days of playing around with horses, it was a pretty common theme back then. It's 5 things not to do with your horse. And those 5 things are, just catch them, saddle up and get on, kick him to go, pull him to stop, and use your reins to turn. Now you couldn't have got a better example of those last few elements of what you just saw with Judy. You can hardly see what she was doing. It was a pure partnership. Instead of a dictatorship, we want that partnership to blossom. And you can't get that by, just bullying the horse into submission. It's got to be a partnership. Now our partnership's 49-51. We are the 1% because we had the plan. Okay, so we'll start with the first one. Just catch it. Now, it's pretty easy to tell the hardest horse to catch in the herd. You've always got to hold the left on. And if they're really hard to catch, they've still got a lead rope on, which is not the most ideal situation to have your horse in. So, if you don't sit down with your mate, having a coffee, instead of with your mates at home, the hubby comes home from work and she shoots out the back door. There's a problem with the relationship. Same goes for your horses. If that horse has taken 20, 40, 50 minutes to catch, through something like this, it's coming in with a hook and lead rope, a bit of brain in your hand or what have you, well, they'll try and corner him into now that's really not the start of a good relationship. And this is how I like my horses, to catch me. So we just take a little bit of time to work out what's going on. But he's now spotted me. And this is the case most days when I go into the paddock. And I say most days, because we really need to check out what side of the paddock they woke up on. So, like I say, it's really a matter of a partnership. And the more you look at it that way, instead of a boss worker, dictator type style of a relationship, it's really something that helps build trust like this. As you saw, Squizzy was a little bit lost up there at the gate when Helen left him, but once he found me, he made a beeline for me. This is how I really like him to be. Connected, on song, and displaying that partnership and relationship that I really want, because, one of those deals is, like I say, you just catch them up, just catch them and get on. So, when I say about catching, quite often you'll see people go up in the paddock and they're huffing and puffing, the horse is huffing and puffing because it's finally decided to give up without being caught. So then they'll come up and do something like this, whether it's a red halter or whether it's a rope halter. They'll come up and they'll be, if they're out to nick off again, they'll do something like this. Whoa, mate, whoa. And then for what, this is a common thing that people will do now. Right now, I'm in a very, very precarious position. If Squizzy was to get a fright or get distracted by something over there, especially that way, he's going to squirm, move his head and probably take my head with him. Okay? So what I like to do as far as haltering in the beginning stages is do this. Pass the halter to my other hand and my hand over his neck. Now if you've got a scoop right now, he's going to push me out of the way. He's not going to clock me in the head. But I like to develop that to a point where I'm asking his permission to be haltered up. Now anyone that's had a horse come to me for some training or we started under saddle, they generally get them back like this. Yes, I know there's a lot of distractions, not surprised. Right, now we got you. So it'd be fair to say Squeezy's saying, yeah Dad, I'm good to be haltered. Okay? So So that's just one little part of the equation. So it's not a matter of just catching them. Develop a relationship to a point where they want to catch you, you know. You've got to ask yourself, you know, why? Why is that horse not wanting to be caught? You know, what's wrong with our relationship to get to a point where you feel like you need to run away from him? So that brings us to point 2, just saddle up and get on. Well, for me, I really like to know that my horse is ready to be saddled, i.e. he accepts the saddle. Now this is not a saddle obviously, but it's a pretty well good simulation of one. It's all about acceptance. When I say acceptance, it's when I'm starting a young horse, it's all about accept the human, accept the saddle, accept the rider, accept the bridle. With the emphasis on accept. It's fair to say Squizzy right now is accepting the fact that I want to saddle him up and put the bareback pad on him. So he's proving to me that everything's good. Because, you know, if it's all, we just get out there, catch them, saddle up and get on and do, all ends up looking like do-do. Because that's when they start getting hard to catch, because there's no out for them, there's no break, there's no relationship building exercises that say to that horse, here's some time out mate, let's just hang out together, which, you know, I was just talking to a lady this morning about that, you know, quite often, I love a full moon, because you see what you're doing, but pretty much I just go out and hang around with the horses, don't ask anything of them, don't even touch them, if they want to come up and smooch on me, that's all great, but I just like hanging with them, telling them about my troubles, telling them about my day, how it's all gone and things like that. And another big piece of the puzzle, ladies and gentlemen, is, you know, where people get into a lot of trouble is they just, like I say, just saddle up and get on. Now, I like to find out what side of the paddock that Squizzy's woken up on any time I'm catching them. And people say to me, oh, do I have to do hours and hours and hours of groundwork? I said, well, no. You can do all this stuff whilst you're on your way back to the tack room to saddle up. So, you know, by doing a little bit of groundwork, now groundwork is way more than lunging. Because all lunging does is exercise the body and does nothing for the brain. In fact, they get very, very physical and lame in the brain because we're not doing anything to adjust that horse's thought patterns. You know, and if you start riding that horse on a regular basis, because a lot of people use lunging techniques to take a bit of sting out of the horse, get them chewing a bit of air, and then most of the time they're pretty good to ride. But if you decide to make a program of what you're doing, you take on a sport of some kind, before you know it, in not too much time, 10 men and 5 dogs aren't going to wear that horse out. He's sure he's going to fit in the brain, fit in the body, but nothing's happened to change his state of mind. So, you know, I really encourage people, you know, groundwork is a big part of my program, and I like to, like as I say, I like to see when they've got to. Looks like the paddock they're working on. Come on, bud, straighten up. And you have to excuse because he's had a few trips to Agfest now, but it is a bit of pressure cooker. And he's doing a pretty good job. He came out this morning and had a bit of a play. He did very well. Really happy with him. Just to make sure one thing we didn't play with was this. So hopefully he's happy to jump up there and not try and hit it. But playing with your horse's mind on the ground is one of the safest things you can do because instead of just saddling him up and getting on, working that cinch up or girth, depending on the discipline, so it's not going to fall off. And then throwing your leg over there, you know, that's when the trouble starts. And quite often I'll get some people come to me with some behavioural issues and things like that. One of the first things I'll do with that horse is this. And pretty commonly, I'd say 90% of the time, the horse starts jumping out of its skin just because I'm gently tossing that leg up over there. And I'll just say to the owner, why on earth would you want to throw your leg over a horse that can't stand still to have a leg right chucked over there? You know, their mind is just not on the job. So for me, I really like to get them to a point where everything's going well, we're connected, and I'll do that. We're connected and things are just doing great. The horse is giving you yes answers, basically. They're not bugging off anywhere. And then when things get when the frequent matter hits the rotary oscillator, that's when injuries happen, horses get hurt, humans get hurt. It's just not a nice thing to do. So for me, you need to have them mentally engaged in doing what they're doing. You know, and then it comes down to a matter of partnership and trust. You don't get this by being a bully, yelling and screaming. You get that way by, like I say, asking your horse to be a real partner. Easy, bro. Easy. Hey, hey. Okay, so I think it'd be fair to say that Squiz is displaying a fair amount of partnership right now. I'm just checking his cinch again, make sure all that's good. So this brings us to the next bit. So we're just going through just catch it. Don't just catch it, you know. Find out where the mind's at. Saddle up and get on. Once again, find out where that partnership lies. Find out where that partnership lies and deal with the horse that shows up. You know, if your horse is not wanting to be caught, take your time. Because, you know, more often than not what happens is we get angry, we get emotional, but it's us that chooses anger as a response. You know, the horse just doesn't know any better. You know, he's running away because, like I say, there is a problem with the relationship. When that happens, well, you get up there and you start yelling and screaming at him for being a bad boy or a bad girl, and then throw him on the float if you can get him on the float. Excuse me, there's a bit of emotion now. As you saw there, quite often horses just make a big thing of that and turn themselves into giraffes. Well, you know, I'm only 5'3", and if a horse like Judy's wanted to play giraffe on me, there ain't no way I'm going to get the snap of it. So what I like my horses to do is have their ears below my ears. So, you know, I could wear them off my knees if I wanted to, which I normally would, but, you know, we're in a bit of a pressure situation today, so I'm not going to push him out of his comfort zone. I'm going to set him up for success. Good job, mate. Good job. Okay. Alright, now here comes another good one that I commonly see, is the old mountain exercise where people play the old mountain block dance. The horse comes up to be saddled, and all of a sudden, just at the right moment, that bum just goes in like, bang, bang. Well, I take a step, and then moves the mountain block to suit the horse rather than get the horse to suit where you want to get on. So, fair to say, Squiz is in a good frame of mind right now. I'm good to get on. It sucks getting on. Yes, there. Alright. So, number 3. Kick them to go. Right? Well, anyone that's had a lesson with me would know that it is one of my pet hates. Because one, looks ugly. Force begins when knowledge ends, and all you're doing is forcing the horse to go forward rather than asking him to go forward. So I could sit here all day, kick on Squizzy, he go nowhere. Right? If I pretend like he's a big giant tube of Colgate toothpaste and squeeze that toothpaste out of the tube, well, look where I go. Okay? So, you know, sure, a lot of horses will go forward. But by jingoes, with a bad taste in your mouth, once again, it's a dictatorship. You're telling them to go, or you're making them go. Even more so if you're doing that with spurs on, because you don't want to be around me kicking horse with spurs on, because it just arcs me out no end. So, you know, it's not about, you know, I want to use my legs for something important, you know, when I start doing fancy stuff like Judy, because she was using her legs to elevate that horse in the piaffe and passage when she was working with him. It's all about, you know, the more you do with your reins, the less your horse is going to use his brains. It's as simple as that. You know, it's just, we overdo what we're doing with the reins to get the horse to do whatever it is we want it to do. So, well, during the week, when I pick up on the reins, just like Squizzy's done there, he said to you, rain dad, I don't want to be pulling him into that frame. I want him to accept what I'm asking of him in that moment of contact. So, one of the things, like I say, if I was having to micromanage everything with the reins right now, rather than using my seat, it's going to look pretty ugly. And Squizzy's doing a good job. We've just come away from 5 days of great learning with a good mentor and wife from New Zealand. And we had some great discussions. I always like catching up with Russell, he's a good guy. So like I say, the more you use your reins with people, the less your horse is going to use his brains. And you want to be riding your horse pretty much as you can off your seat. So, as you can see, I'm not doing a lot with the reins. Squizzy's, like I say, I've got to cut him some slack. He's in a pressure environment. It's not easy. And just like Judy, hopefully throughout this session, Squizzy gets a little bit more and more relaxed. It's pretty cool what I'm asking him, cool in his environment. So, like I said, the more you use your reins, the less your horse is going to use his brains. But just anyone that saw my demonstration last year on taking the rein out of rein-back, you could hardly see Judy using those reins. Quite a common thing that dressage riders do to enact the backup is have the contact and take their legs back. But with Squizzy and the way I like to teach it, it's all about my body. So right now I'm in a very neutral position. Now I'm going to ask Squizzy to go back with just by lifting my pelvis off my pelvic floor off the saddle. I just want you to watch my elbows. Now I'm going to roll forward onto that, squeeze a little, ask him to go. Now I'm just going to walk back and ask him to go backwards. It's nothing. It's absolutely all body and no hands. So, in conversing, I talk about, the more you use your reins, but also what goes on in your brain flows down the rein. So, if you're in a bad mood and things aren't going too well, you really need to just sit and chill. There's no harm in that. Well, sitting and chilling, what I mean is just have a few deep breaths, have a think about what you want to do in your session, laugh, talk on your horse, get them connected. Oh, geez, I forgot to put the helmet on. So, brings me to the next one. Kicking to go, pulling to stop. As you just saw, pulling in to stop isn't my vocabulary. I'd rather use my body first. But by all means, if it's not going to happen for you, you're going to pick up on the reins and say, well, hey. But if it's the first thing we actually want to go to, it's how do we get better from there? Same with kicking a horse to go. You're using rhythmic pressure instead of steady pressure. So in the right situation, if I start kicking, squeezing, and project my energy out in front of me, it'll go backwards and hopefully I can display it. So kicking to go, pulling to stop, which we don't want to do unless we really have to. And then the fifth one, and lastly, use your reins to turn. Once again, I want to be able to look where I want to go, use my body, every bit of it. Now, legs are just not hanging off there for the fun of it. They are a very, very important tool. What I mean by that, if I was to be so constant at kicking Squizzy to go, there's no way I could get it back up like this. Now what I'm going to do is use my legs to lift his back and ask him to go faster. So you're not going to get that by pulling. Quite often I see riders get up there and try and pull their horse's bottom jaw off because, by its very nature, rein back is the first thing you're going to use is try and get all those reins off. Now, another thing I forgot to mention, ladies, about just saddle up and get on. Quite often you'll see this sort of picture. It's rider will get up there, it'll be tight reins, and they'll be Get up! So straight away I'm telling him to go and stop at the same time. A pretty incongruent message to send to our horses. What happens is, you know, sure you've all seen the movie Avatar, and they got their little mythical being and they plug their tail in and off they go on that magical journey. Horses. Everyone wants that from their horse. So I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter if you're bareback, you've got a saddle, you're riding in a bareback pad. As soon as you sit on your horse, your avatar plug is plugged in. Your horse knows what's going on the inside, and he absolutely knows what's going on the outside. But what a lot of people don't realise is they know exactly what's going on the inside. So you need to be careful. What happens is riders get this amazing affliction. What's the rumble of the bird? Let's go down that nose. I know. You see how horses easily get drawn. When they're in a low or pressure situation, he just drew automatically towards that crowd. But you know, you want to go in there. Just relax. Squeeze. Just one other thing about, you know, kicking them to go and pulling them to stop at the same time. There's this really bad affliction that horse riders get. It's called sphinctitis. They sit up there and all of a sudden you have a horse spooks. You know, you get that tight back there, you can pull a chook feather out of there, the John Deere tractor. You know, it's endemic in the horse industry. But what we need to do in those situations is just stay calm and relaxed. Be that partner that our horse is looking for. So, you know, just in closing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say 5 things not to do with your horse. Just catch them. Get them to a point where they catch you. Don't just saddle up and get on. Find out what side of the paddock or the stable that they woke up on. Kicking them to go. Well, you don't see any jockeys getting down the back straight of Fleming, kicking the horses to go faster. They're spanking them on the butt to lengthen their stride. And just like Judy, when she applies her legs, and like I did with Squizzy, it elevates their back. So we want to save what we're doing for that very thing. Remember to stop, you know. We really need to get out of the habit of using our reins so much. And like I say, the more we use our reins, the less they'll use their brains. And then, you know, finally, using our reins to turn. You know, quite often you see people I'm already leaning on the legs trying to lift up to make the turn. You know, you won't see any of those great, really cool Western riders, reining riders, leaning on that shoulder while they're trying to do that turnaround. Just going to have a quick little plug, which I'm going for time here, but so trying to have a quick little plug, stop flapping the gums and trying to concentrate. Squizzy's going to need me for that. So I'll just send a little plane so that we can get it accomplished. Anyway. Yes, that means stop. You want to go back to the hill? That's fine with me. Don't really want to go too hard on it. Yes, that's the gate. That's the gate. No, there's no short jumper, ladies and gentlemen. That's one thing he's not. But the thing is there, you know, don't get worried about stuff like that happening. Just try and stay connected. Be their partner. So as you can see, just by up in the gate, it's really upped his emotions. So we don't leave that alone, good boy, that's what I want to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Good. Just let him settle for a second. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope you enjoyed the presentation today. I'd just like to take this opportunity to To thank my sponsor, Kaz, from Kaz's Flags and Tailbags. If you're interested in any of the equipment she's got, she makes the neck strings as well as a plethora of other products, main bags, things like that. She really does a great job, and I thank her for her support. I really thank you for your time and attention today. Hopefully, you know, I've imparted some little message on you and take home to your own horses. Thank you for your time and respect. And if you feel like coming on over and saying get over to Squizzy, please do. I've got some vouchers there for Kaz if you're interested in any of the products. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Did you see the horse?